We play and call it work.
Hey everybody, Matthew here from MiniWarGaming.com, and welcome to another episode of Lore Hunter, where I hunt for the answers to your questions about Age of Sigmar and 40k lore. At least for now, that's what we're covering. Maybe we'll expand it to other things later on. But that's what I know, so that's what I'm going to be talking about. Today's question comes from Kimsy Bimsy. It would be nice to get some lore regarding the transition from Warhammer Fantasy to Age of Sigmar. I still don't really like the idea that Warhammer Fantasy world kind of just blew up and transformed somehow to Age of Sigmar. And yes, I don't know just about anything about the Age of Sigmar lore regarding that. So it would be cool to get a summary regarding how Fantasy became Age of Sigmar. Thanks in advance. Smiley face. So, Kimsey, I will gladly do that. Now, there are lots of videos covering this. In fact, by the time this video has come out, there's even a new series by Kitetsu on our channel that's going to be exploring exactly that. It's going to be starting right at the beginning of the Age of Sigmar lore and kind of going through the Age of Myth and all of that, so you can kind of see how it works. There's plenty of introductory series out there, so I'm not going to try to do what they've already done. Instead, I'll give you a quick summary of what's going on and then point you to those videos so that you can learn more about them. So essentially what happened is this. In Warhammer Fantasy, we had the old world, which was just a globe. It was your sphere of a world, just like any others. It had its own locations and its own empires. And it had the Chaos realm always trying to infiltrate. Essentially, if I'm just going to make a long story short, Chaos wins. They overtake the entire world, and Slaanesh gorges on all the elven souls, and everybody else is just basically running rampant, and pretty much everything from the old world is destroyed. In fact, it gets destroyed so badly that the entire world explodes. Most of the people died. A lot of the really, really important characters ascended to some sort of godhood. We see that with Nagash, we see that with Sigmar, and lots of others as well. And the world blows up. But one interesting thing that they decided to do with this is that we have our 8 winds of magic. And the 8 winds of magic coming from the realm of chaos were very, very strong throughout this world. And as the end times approached, they became stronger as the energies of chaos kind of consumed the world. So when it exploded, which I think Chaos was momentarily happy about, it spread the different 8 winds of magic throughout what's called the etheric void. So apparently the world was hanging in this etheric void all along. We just didn't know anything about it. And when it exploded, it shot out all these magics. It just spread throughout this etheric void. And then over the eons after that, we don't know if it's hundreds of years, thousands of years, millions of years, it doesn't really matter. These magics started to coalesce together, like attracting like. So if you were the Azirian magic, for example, the realm of, or the heaven magic, then it would start to form together with other heaven magic. The Akshi magic, the fire magic, would form together as well. Now, not all of the fire magic formed together, and not all the heaven magic formed together. Some of the fire magic would coalesce into the other realms as well, but there was still a very predominant magic in each of the realms. And this formed the 8 mortal realms, one named after each of the winds of magic. And we have an entire series called Traveling Through the Realms that you can go and investigate as well to find out more about that. I'll put links in the video description below to all these different series so you can go and check them out and learn more about the realms. But essentially, when they coalesced strong enough, they created these realm spheres. And in the realm spheres, the realm sphere is not a globe though, it's not a solid thing, it's a sphere of influence, a sphere of magic. And in the middle of these realms, in different forms, but a lot of them coalesced the magic so much that they went from energy to mass and to material and formed land. And then from that, the magic then permeated the land and formed life. A lot of these souls from Warhammer Fantasy, not the elven ones, unfortunately, were kind of drifted through and they found their ways, some by the influence of some gods and some just by being attracted there to these areas and found themselves reborn. So a lot of the old peoples then found themselves in the mortal realms. And then we have a long story, and I've already made a long story really short, but essentially old world blows up, the 8 winds of magic are scattered throughout the etheric void, and they form into these 8 new worlds, if you want to look at them that way. Each of them, though, huge in comparison to a regular-sized planet Earth, and each of them populated with all sorts of different races as well. And of course, Chaos eventually notices these and is drawn to them. It's like, hey, fresh food, because they basically, when Chaos wins, Chaos loses, is really what it comes down to. If Khorne wins, that means everybody's dead. And he's like, oh, there's nobody left to kill. What am I going to do now? If Nagash, if Nurgle wins and turns everything into a plague garden, he's probably the most content of them all to be happy there. Slaanesh feasted so much on the elven souls that he or she was just like, oh, that was good. I could barely breathe. Oh, it was so good though. And so held up that eventually was captured as well. And Tzeentch, of course, always wants to plot. So as soon as they won, they started turning on each other as well, because he's like, well, now I want to be the biggest chaos god. So they're never really happy. They're never really content. They always want something to conquer. So when they noticed the mortal realms, that gave them something to go and conquer. That's the short version. If you want the longer versions, then I suggest that you check out videos below. The first one being the introductory series for our videos from Kitetsu, as well as the Traveling Through the Realms series to learn more about the mortal realms. Go and check those out. Thank you for your question, Kimsy Bimsy. If you have a question for me to hunt for the answer for, or maybe I just know the answer, make sure you leave it in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Happy wargaming.